Anita Pointer has recently passed away. She was one of the members of the original Pointer Sisters, an all-American girl group of biological sisters from Oakland, California. They are often labeled as R&B, but their catalog included many genres of music, including pop, jazz, country, and dance. As a matter of fact, their first Grammy was for a song called Fairytale, which won as the best country performance by a duo or group with vocal. The Pointer Sisters really could do it all. The sisters were even on the big screen in the hit comedy movie Carwash. That would not be Anita Pointer's last time being around Richard Pryor. When Anita was dating Thomas Henderson, who was a linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys from the mid to late 1970s, the couple got an invitation from Richard Pryor to come to his house. They both knew Richard, so getting an invitation to his house wasn't weird. But what happened after they got there was. Let's get into it. Thomas Hollywood Henderson is a former NFL player. He was a linebacker who played for a few teams. He was selected 18th overall in the first round of the 1975 NFL Draft to play for the Dallas Cowboys. He played for the Cowboys from 1975 until 1979, and it was in Dallas that he gave himself the nickname Hollywood, which was a reflection of his flamboyant behavior, the way that he dated some of the hottest women in the entertainment industry, and the fact that he couldn't be tamed by his coaching staff. He considered himself to be a wild guy. It seems as though the people who had to deal with him professionally just thought that he was a jerk. Ultimately, he got kicked out of the Dallas Cowboys organization, and he went on to 3 other teams for very brief stints: the San Francisco 49ers, the Houston Oilers, and then the Miami Dolphins. But it was during his time as a Dallas Cowboy that he dated Azizi Johari, who was a Playboy playmate. She was Playmate of the Month in June of 1975, and people were apparently talking about the two of them being together at one point. Speaking of point, Hollywood also dated one of the Pointer sisters, Anita Pointer, while he was a Dallas Cowboy. And it was Anita Pointer's time on the set of the hit comedy film Carwash that she met Richard Pryor. So when the couple got an invitation to Richard's home, that would not have been an invite that was out of the ordinary. Actually, Thomas Henderson was known to hang out with Richard Pryor outside of Anita Pointer's company. Hear him explain how he met Anita Pointer and Richard Pryor.
So we go to Miami to play Super Bowl 10.
Against the Steelers, right?
Against the Steelers. And I go to a concert, like on Wednesday or Thursday. It was the Temptations and the Pointer Sisters. I'm sitting on the front row, and one of the Pointer Sisters started looking at me. And I started winking at her. And just before you know it, I was in our hotel room, and we started a relationship. Her name is Anita Pointer of the Pointer Sisters. And that off season, which would have been, January of 76, I went to Los Angeles to hang out with her. Actually, I went to Sausalito, which is outside of San Francisco. But in that relationship, I met Richard Pryor and Marvin Gaye. And so, in the middle of the day, Marvin would be in the studio, Richard would be at home, and I'm staying with Dennis Edwards, the lead singer for The Temptation, is letting me stay with him. So between Richard Pryor and Marvin Gaye, I got a taste of cocaine, and I liked it.
And even 2 years after that, Thomas Hollywood Henderson was still playing for the Cowboys when they won their second Super Bowl in 1978. That was Super Bowl 12, and New Orleans was the host city. And guess who Thomas was hanging out with the week before he had to play the big game? Richard Pryor and Marvin Gaye. He had already been hanging out with Pryor and Gaye in Los Angeles, and I think that you can guess what they had in common. Yes, Hollywood Henderson was a big-time drug addict. The public knew about it after he was arrested for smoking cocaine in 1983. But in the late 70s, the public didn't know about his drug addiction. But Richard Pryor knew, and Marvin Gaye knew, and by Super Bowl 12, Thomas was deep into his cocaine addiction. In 2018, just days before Super Bowl 52, Henderson was asked if he was doing drugs in New Orleans during the week leading up to his Super Bowl win in 1978. His answer, quote, "I was with Richard Pryor and Marvin Gaye. So what do you think I was doing?" End quote. In case anyone listening doesn't know, both Richard Pryor and Marvin Gaye certainly had their own histories of drug abuse. And Thomas Hollywood Henderson hung out with both Pryor and Gaye during his professional football playing days. Now, Richard Pryor and Marvin Gaye both loved drugs, but according to Hollywood Henderson, quote, "They both loved football, and this was before crack and smoking crack. It was just more of a hit or two, but I was well into my recreational use of cocaine that I snorted." End quote. So, when Thomas Henderson and Anita Pointer were at Richard's house, and Richard offered him cocaine, no one batted an eye. It was Richard Pryor's other offering that might seem strange to some. And here's how the encounter happened in Hollywood Henderson's own words. Quote, "Anita and I took a limo to Richard Pryor's house. The butler was circulating with a platter of cocaine. Frankie Crocker was sitting beside me. Side note, if you are wondering who Frankie Crocker is, he was a pioneering DJ of black radio who had a few public scandals of his own. But back to the story. Quote, "Pryor went into the kitchen and came out with a plate of barbecue sauce and chicken. He took a chicken leg, dipped it deep in the sauce, and stuck it in his hair. Then he smeared it all in his face, under his chin, and near his ears. A few minutes later, a movie screen came down in the living room. The lights dimmed. Up on the screen was Richard Pryor with an erection. An Oriental girl, a white girl, and a black girl were catering to his every need. One girl would work him for a while, and his eyes looked like they were going to explode. Another would take her best shot, and he would give his. They were doing some real freaky stuff. It was wild. Richard was nuts." End quote. It seems like for sure since the 2010s, the public has become increasingly aware of Richard Pryor's freaky behaviors. But apparently all of his entertainment friends had been knowing the deal about Richard. So this part of Thomas's book was just another day in the life of Richard Pryor for everyone who was present at his home for that, movie debut. Yep, a funny and sick guy. As for Thomas Hollywood Henderson, he was projected to be a huge NFL star at the time that he met Richard Pryor and Marvin Gaye, but his drug addiction and his outrageous behavior played major roles in his career ending very prematurely. He hit rock bottom, no pun intended, when he was arrested in 1983 for smoking cocaine with 2 teenage girls and allegedly sexually assaulting one girl, according to some sources, assaulting 2 teenage girls, according to many other sources, including Jet Magazine, that you can see here. He claimed the sex was consensual and eventually pleaded no contest. Well, apparently he is clean now and living his life on the straight and narrow path. He wrote a follow-up book called In Control, The Rebirth of an NFL Legend. He has apparently kicked his drug addiction, which is great. Do you think that an adult can ever redeem himself or herself from sexually assaulting a teen? Let me know in the comment section. He says that he doesn't remember committing any sexual crimes against women, not girls. Here is what he said.
I was charged with a sex crime, but I have no memory of that, and that has not been anything that's been a habit or something I do. If I hurt someone, I am deeply sorry. I've worked my steps on that, and I'd do something about it if I could, but there's nothing I can do but lay words on it. Roger Staubach, and Drew Pearson, and Too Tall Jones, and I've got great friends, and the people who know me know me, And so, they've never seen me hurt a woman or force a woman to do anything. So the people who know me, and I still don't know what happened in 83, but if I look back at it, probably it's the best thing in the world to happen to me, although I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
We will definitely revisit Thomas Henderson's story at a later date. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please leave a thumbs up and comment so that we can get a discussion going. And share this video on all of your social media, especially your Facebook. That really helps me out a lot. And subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can know when my next video is ready for you. See you on the next video.